What's going on, y'all? This is another new backdrop or another new setting, but I'm excited for this one because, excuse me, we get to utilize a table.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of podcasts that I watch, a lot of the more established ones, they have more of the sit down, and I think it creates for more
Conversational feel.
Yeah, I'm excited today because you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Lexi Bowler.
And we go back to
High
high
school.
school, and I want to just say that, like, I remember whenever I would see you and talk to you, you were always smiling, and you always seemed positive, and you always seemed like you were very full of life, and because you transferred.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Montana. Yeah, I was born and raised in Montana. My mom got a job opportunity in Kansas City, and then my sister was going to be a Jayhawk, so my mom just decided we might as well all go together. So we ended up moving here. We officially touched ground in Lawrence 3 days before the beginning of junior year. So I had 3 days to get acclimated and try to figure out how to get comfortable in a new high school where I knew absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in general, going to a new high school in general is going to be hard, especially your junior year, because everyone has their friends they've grown up with, they're doing sports with, they're the theater kid. They all have their groups, and that's just kind of what high school is. It's a little cliquey. But I am very outgoing, and I could try to use that to my advantage, and ended up trying to be a manager for volleyball. So I was able to meet some really cool girls through that kind of helped me get acclimated in high school, at least for the first couple of months. And then, of course, being the new girl your junior year, everyone's really curious. Where'd you come from? What'd you do? Why are you here? Everyone's just wants to know all the details. So I was able to kind of meet a lot of people through that too. I feel like, I mean, it's a universal, because my dad did the same thing. He moved before his junior year of high school. And kind of just the same experience. It's hard when everything's so cliquey. And I didn't necessarily have a sport that I was really good at. I loved to cheer, but the cheerleading team was full. And I tried to try out, but the coach blew me off. So there wasn't really much I could do about that. I don't feel like I had necessarily any hard times. I had a really good friend going through that so my cousin had already lived here.
Excuse me, yeah.
And my mom, she was good friends with someone that was in school already, and they had a daughter that was my age, so me and her got really close. Cool. So she kind of carried me through, at least as far as having just a friend to have, but I got really lucky being kind of outgoing and not scared to introduce myself to people. So I remember being in the group chat or the Groupon or whatever it's called, and being yes, and being hi, I'm Lexi, I'm new. And I didn't, not that it got me anywhere, but at least people knew my name when I was walking around school. So LHS was fine. The reason we moved to Lawrence specifically, but my mom worked in Kansas City, was because it was the closest setup as far as 2 high schools, a college, to my hometown. So there was 2 high schools. Yeah, same thing. There was a smaller college in my hometown, not like KU, but at least it was kind of the same setup. They were around the same size. It was kind of familiar coming to the same setup.
Cool.
So it didn't, I was just it's another high school, and then I ended up having to graduate early anyways. So I was only there for a year and a half. So it wasn't really that bad. It was just enough to get through and graduate by the skin of my teeth. Interesting too at the time, because I was also going through when there was a lot of protests going on at LHS. There was a lot of it was related to the LGBTQ trans community, a lot of that stuff. And I, in my hometown, coming from Montana, that it's very conservative. It's a very you know what I mean? And not to say that they don't pay attention to those types of things, but as far as it being woven through the high school, you are who you are, and nobody really says anything. It is that way. There's definitely bullies. I'm not saying that there wasn't that, right. But people just kind of stuck to who they knew. We all grew up together, so everybody knew, if you were gay and in the closet, everyone just kind of knew. No one really brought it up. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but it wasn't people were knocking your books out of your hands because you're gay. Right. You know what I mean? Okay. So then when I moved here, and it was kind of that way, at least, it wasn't as upfront as people knocking books out of your hands, but there were protests, there were things going on in the school. And that was the first time I'd ever seen that. And that was more shocking, I guess, in a way, just because, again, I'd never seen it before. So as far as it being bad, I wouldn't call it bad, but for me, it was just more wow, this actually happened.
Yeah.
And I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
And it was for a good reason. It's for a good cause.
Mhm.
And I mean, especially now people are more welcoming. So I feel like that's really good and that's important. But that to me was kind of the hardest thing to adapt to, as far as like being in a high school that's way more liberal than like anything I'd ever seen or been a part of.
Yeah. I also don't love my class.
Okay.
They
cut that out. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm not cutting that out. I'm not cutting that out. I feel like there's so much excuse me. I feel like there's so much there's so much spirit and camaraderie. Well, like when I was a freshman, like the seniors, I talked about this last podcast. They had a good, cool core group.
They did.
Then the junior class was very much together. Then the class above me was also very involved. They were so much school spirit. Then my class was like, what? And then the class below me, your class, was also, there was big groups. People all seemed to get together for the most part.
Everyone was very involved from what I could understand. Like I was involved in everything. I even got in Young Life. So that was also a good way to like make friends also from Free State, not only from LHS. So I do feel like our class my class at least had a lot of like, they would still get together. Like I remember something I didn't do at my old school, but it was that, oh my God, I don't remember what it's called, but like everyone would have a Nerf gun. And it's like shooting each other until the last person's left. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, I remember that being huge.
Yeah.
And like everybody was a part of it. And it was like a big deal, whoever won. And like, do you know what I'm talking about at least?
I can't remember the name. But
I don't know what it is, but yeah, like there were little things like that that were very, like everybody was involved. It didn't matter what clique you were in, or like everybody wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. I remember going to events and there would be so much of other grades.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yo, where's my class at? But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But you know, I would love to ask you, you know, with your life so far, has there been a time or a situation that was very challenging in the moment and you really didn't know if you were going to be able to get out of that situation? Maybe you didn't know if you were going to, maybe you felt like you might be stuck in that situation for a long time or forever.
Yeah.
And how did you end up getting out of that situation, and what kind of like helped you get out of that situation? And as you answer that, I realized that stopped. So I'm gonna.
That's okay.
So
that's okay. I feel like I've been through a few. I ended up having to graduate high school early because I broke my back.
Wow.
In high school, yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I ended up slipping 3 discs in my back over 80% from weightlifting.
Wait, okay, I do.
Didn't know about it for a really long time. They had put me through like different styles of rehab and doing physical therapy and things like that. And it got to the point where I physically couldn't walk. Like I was sitting in a math class and tried to get up after a test, fell to the ground and couldn't get up. So the security guards and everybody ended up coming to get me, and I sat in the nurse's office like bawling until my parents came to get me, and she took me to the doctor, and they ended up doing an MRI, and they were like, yeah, this is probably the worst like back injury we've ever seen on someone under 18. Cow. Yeah. So then I was in surgery like 3 or 4 days later.
Was it from squatting?
Yeah.
Just too much weight?
Yeah, just way too much. Bad form. I think that the football coach was a little more worried about my spandex than my form. If that makes sense. So yeah, I ended up fucking my back up pretty bad. And then, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, I ended up fucking my back up. So that happened in like October.
Okay.
And then I didn't have surgery until March.
Was this your senior year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of disappeared a little bit and nobody knew where I went. I was going through rehab. I was bedridden for a little while. And at this time I was dating somebody that was doing his best to kind of balance like his life also, but still trying to be there for me while I'm going through this very weird time. But then I ended up having surgery and then had to basically teach myself like how to walk again, which was fun. Yeah. And
while still doing school?
I graduated early, so I didn't have to.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So a lot of my credits from CMR, which is my hometown high school, ended up carrying over, and they required more credits to graduate. So I luckily had a lot that they were like, well, you don't have to do this. You cannot do this. And they kind of made it work to where I didn't have to keep going because I couldn't keep up. Like I couldn't walk. I couldn't get out of bed. Like my mom had to shower me. Like it was really bad. Yeah, so that was really crazy. And then the surgery was either like it's going to work or it's not going to work. It's a really up in the air type of thing. And I'd never had surgery up to this point before, not even a wisdom teeth, like nothing. So it was my first surgery ever, the biggest surgery of my life that I'll probably, well, besides my C-section, but like biggest unplanned surgery that you'll probably ever have. But it ended up working. I still have some nerve damage and stuff, which is like it just happens. I wasn't getting spinal fluid down to my legs for a while. So that's what the nerve damage is from. So I kind of permanently have it, but like it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm so used to it. So that was wild. And then I guess fast forward quite a bit, getting into the relationship with my kid's dad, that was a little abusive and kind of interesting. And recently, like it's November, so like just over a year now, ended up leaving him, and it's been a hell of a journey seeing how much of your life can change in a year. I went from like completely financially supporting us, his business, my son, our whole lives. I paid for phones, I paid for cars, I grocery shopped, I made the meals, I took care of the house for the most part, and he would kind of dilly-dop around and do as he wanted, which was fine. He's quite a bit older than I am too, so it's a bit of an age gap. So I just like I've always dated guys that were a little bit older, so to me it was just kind of like, oh, that's how they are. Like they always kind of want to go out and do their own thing, and he did that. Little did I know he was cheating on me and doing all sorts of things. So finally, I just got tired of it, and like ended up leaving him, and my whole life kind of crumbled a little bit in a way. Like I didn't end up getting the house. He had put me and Junior out like over literally like 12 hours time span. He tried to like keep all of Junior's things for me and then put all my stuff in the garage of the house and change the locks of the house. So the only way I could get in was I had to like muscle up the garage door and then like get it to stay. Yeah. Moved all my stuff out, went to my mom's, took Junior with me, but we didn't have anything for Junior. We literally had the clothes on his back and that was it. So my mom took off work the next day and we went to Kansas City and got everything for Junior that we would need from a bed to a toothbrush to a couple toys to clothes. Like we literally bought him all brand new stuff. And then I just picked it up. Like I didn't have a choice. I'm a mom. Like I didn't have a choice. I had to do what I had to do. So got that all figured out, got him set up in a daycare. I put him in gymnastics. So we had an extracurricular, which he still loves.
Nice.
Yeah, he really loves gymnastics. Nice. And then I picked it up. Like I was doing my business at the time. I was going on 5 years of my business. And with then being a single mom, I love my business. I love doing lashes, but the idea.
You're kind of stepping away from that, right?
A little bit, yeah. Because I ended up doing dispatch. I'm a 911 dispatcher now. And nice. Yeah, the reason I did that was because I feel like my business was for me and I did love it and it was hard and it's like having your own business. It's challenging, it's loving, it's a beautiful process, but it's it's very up and down. Yeah. And now that I didn't have like someone else to kind of fall back on if something happened, freaked me out a little bit. So I just like decided it was time to put Junior in front of all my decisions instead of just like, well, I want to do this and I want to this. Like I had to make sure we had good health insurance and make sure that we had security. Like if, people didn't show up for their appointments, I wasn't getting paid. Yeah. So we wouldn't be able to get groceries that day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to put Junior in front of all those decisions and decided like, what can I do without a college degree? Because I didn't go to college because when everybody was applying for college, I was teaching myself how to walk. Yeah. So I didn't get that, opportunity. My dream was always to be a paramedic. I love it. I love the rush. I love health and anatomy and like the muscles and how it all connects. Like our bodies are so cool. But I couldn't go to school with being a single mom. Like it'd be too much balance. I just wasn't trying to set myself up for failure. You know what I mean? So I ended up going through the process for a 911 dispatcher. It takes about 6 months. It's like they background check, they interview your friends and family, they drug test you multiple times. Go through everything. And ended up getting that. And I am doing, good now. Like I love it. Yeah, it's really fun.
Is that in town?
Yeah, I do it in Lawrence in the courthouse. Yeah. Cool. I really love it. I'm one of the youngest on my squad, so that makes it really fun too. Yeah. Kind of in a way, I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage because obviously the younger you are when you're learning new things, you are still a little bit sponge quality, like you just soak it all up. So I'm essentially like learning a new language. Is like they speak in numbers, like a number means something. Yeah. So like it's fun. Like I really enjoy it. It's probably the best thing I could have done. The schedule is a little rough as far as balancing it with junior, but like I have no complaints. I mean, had to be resilient because it wasn't just about me. So
that's awesome. Good for you.
It's been fun.
Is that a set schedule? So it's like a 9 to 5?
It's so 12-hour shifts, but it's 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 2 off, and then 2 off, 3 on. So it's like a rotating, but like I work every other weekend, and then every week I get either 2 or 3 weekdays off. So I work 3 days one week, 4 days the next week, 3 and then 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good schedule. I don't hate it at all. Like it is demanding just as far as like I leave my house at 4:30 every day to bring Junior to my mom so she can bring him to daycare, and then I have to be at work at 5:45.
Oof.
Yeah, and then I'm at work from 5:45 to 6, and then at 6 I drive back out to my mom's to pick up Junior. We go home. She feeds him dinner for me.
Nice.
And then we go home.
Shout
I bathe him. I know. Without my parents, dude, I would not I wouldn't be able to do it. But I pick him up, I give him a bath, and we go straight to bed, and then do the same thing the next day. Nice. Like it's And then on my off days is my lashes. So so on my off days, like when I leave here, I have 4 appointments this afternoon.
Nice.
Then they just come to my living room. I mean, I made it cozy and like
you have a nice place.
Thank you. Yeah, I got lucky. So I mean, that's my job now, I guess, kind of balancing like all of it. I find a lot of fulfillment now in it, like not having to worry about someone else's son. Like I have my son. I don't want 2 kids. Like I need one. And then if someone's willing to come along and help me, more than willing. But like there's definitely some standards that have had to be way picked up, like thrown up way higher, and definitely some things that have had to change. But I am finding a lot of like happiness and a lot of peaceful. It's challenging, of course, but like I've found a lot of, I don't know, just like fulfillment. I keep saying that word, but I feel very fulfilled being able to know that I can do all this by myself and still find happiness in the little things, like throwing birthday parties and hosting at my house and like bringing Junior to trick or treat. Like this was the first year it was just me and Junior trick or treating, and I was terrified because I don't like big crowds with Junior. It's scary. Like keeping track of a 3-year-old that wants to just run around and beat bop around, and I'm like trying to carry my bag and his candy bag and like the hat for his costume that he doesn't want to wear, and like it's a lot. But I found a lot of like, it's like type 2 fun. It's like you're not exactly having fun while you're doing it, but then you get done and you're like, okay, that was actually really cute. Like that was fun. I enjoyed it.
Type 2 fun? I've never heard that. I like that.
Yeah, type 2 fun. You don't have fun while you're doing it, but then after it's done, you're like, okay, that was cool. Like that's
a new word for me. Or new. That's really cool. I like that.
Type 2 fun. Like type 2 fun. You don't have fun like putting I'm sure you hate doing laundry and like having to clean all the thrift.
I can't do the listing. That's what bothers me.
It's terrible. But then people buy something and you're like, fuck yeah, thank God.
Like the event yesterday. Yeah, the event this weekend. While I'm in it, it can be a little stressful. Yeah. Especially when there's like multiple people that want to check out at the same time. And they're always,
and you're like, it's only me. Make a line.
No, you're good. You're good. You know? That is fun.
It's type 2 fun.
Is your phone getting wet from your drink?
It might be.
I don't want it to get.
It's okay. Do you have a paper towel?
Yeah.
I could put it underneath it so I'm not ruining your table.
That's okay. I just want to make sure your phone is okay.
Oh, thank you.
I don't want your phone to get all wet.
No, it's okay. His speech therapist is calling me.
Oh, you can answer?
No, it's okay. She's calling me with an update from him. He had his appointment today, so she's calling me to tell me about that, so I can call her on my way home.
Do you need any more?
Well, maybe fold one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To put it under.
Sure.
I appreciate it. Sorry.
Of course. No, you're good.
There we go. Yeah. Then
I'll take that for you.
It's not gonna. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay if it gets wet. No worries. It's glass.
I mean, it is, but still. Oh, I guess it's wood. It's wood tables that people don't like the rings.
Yeah, it's
glass tables will be okay, but the wood ones get messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you I guess kind of circling back or going back to the back situation, are you not able to lift anymore? Or
no, I still can. Lift? Yeah, after a little bit after it, I ended up going to the gym again because I gained a lot of weight, clearly being bedridden and stuff. So I was like in the gym really heavy, and I did lose a bunch of weight, and I was like feeling really good. But then obviously in an abusive relationship, like it will, like your whole life kind of changes, you know? Like I always say that he like changed my chemical makeup off of the stuff that he did to me.
Oh
It was
wow.
never physical, but it was the way that he fucked with my head and like my own thoughts was really, really wild.
Okay.
And completely changed the way that I thought about just like life in general in a good and a bad way. Um, so I was really heavy in the gym and doing a lot of things, and then it just came to a point where I didn't realize it at the time, but going through all the therapy that I've been through now, it just got to a point where like even 8 9 months into our relationship, like I was literally just surviving. Like even going back through photos and videos and stuff, you can tell like I'm trying my best just to survive while also trying to figure out like I could never do anything right, so like why is it that way? But then also like I'm not necessarily doing anything wrong, cuz like everything that you've ever learned in your life is what is ingrained in your head of what's right and wrong. But then this person that I love and trust and respect with my day-to-day life is telling me that all of that is wrong. So you're internally fighting yourself while also trying to respect the person that you're trying to love. So it was interesting, like trying to balance all of that. And I went really far to try and give him that validation, as far as even like we got in a lot of conversations with my own family to the point where like there was probably 9 or 10 months I didn't speak to my family, didn't see them in their 10 miles down the road. Like
Wow.
it was really rough.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times where he would like block them from my phone, you know, do certain things to kind of create that divide between me and my family.
Because they were they seeing like, hey, this isn't
Oh
good, this isn't
yeah.
healthy,
Oh
and then
yeah.
he was trying to deny it
Yes.
and hide from it.
Like so bad.
Okay.
Like my parents would invite me out for dinner and they would be like, you know, we just miss you. Like we want you to come. And in the nicest way, try to be like, hey, can, you know, just you come. Like we just, you know, we miss our daughter. Like we just want to talk to you. But I wasn't allowed to leave the house if it was just me.
Oh.
So like he would hop in the car and I'd be like, sorry, this is the
Oh.
option. Like this is what you get.
So very controlling.
Very, yeah. He still to this day won't admit it, and tries to tell everybody that he's not, which is something that I'm like actively trying to get over because it's really challenging. We still have to have some sort of a relationship because of Junior, but less than 6 months after we broke up, he'd got another girl pregnant. So now, balancing that has been really interesting because yes, was in the process of healing. I'm the one that left. I do not regret it. I would not change anything, but it's still something you have to heal from. It's still something that you have to work through and very actively like change everything that he put in my head to something that like isn't controlling and offensive and like doesn't make sense, and you know, all of those things. And then to find out that that happened was really insane. But I'm kind of glad that it happened because it was, at least for me, my last straw of like, okay, clearly you didn't care. You didn't want this little family that we made. You did not want X, Y, and Z. So like it's easier for me to walk away because you did that. And then after that happened, we had a legal situation and I ended up going to jail for a little bit. A little bit. I mean, it was like 24 hours. It wasn't like, you know, I didn't do like a stint or anything, but I did end up like going back and forth because he was just doing dangerous things with Junior that I didn't agree with. And I was justified in my actions. Like I ended up getting a good lawyer and we were able to justify it from 3 felonies to one single misdemeanor.
Nice.
So that ended up working out really well in my favor.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been, and this all only in a year. Like this has all happened since we broke up in November or August of last year. So this has all happened in 1 year. Yeah. So like when you look at it like that, it's been really easy for me now to find a lot of fulfillment and peace and beauty in being able to do this alone, because I'm like, I get the satisfaction of going home and I only have to deal with Junior.
Thank you for that clarification, because I thought this was since your son was born.
No.
Oh.
This is just since we broke up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the whole like controlling with my family stuff was since Junior was born, but like us going through our legal stuff, him getting someone pregnant, all of that has only been just barely over a year. And so she's due in March of next year.
So then he'll now have 2 kids?
3.
He'll have 3?
He has one out of state that's 7, and then Junior, who's 3, and then he'll have another little boy.
So 3 different baby mamas. Okay. And I don't know the relationship. I don't know what you were in, but like, did the relationship with your ex change once like the kid was involved, or like
Yeah.
did his true colors show after like 2 months of dating, or like maybe after you guys lived
Yeah.
together?
So the thing with narcissistic relationships, and this is all stuff I've learned since, because I've been in intensive therapy, like multiple therapists. I had to, like, it was
Yeah.
really bad. The thing with narcissistic relationships is it very much follows the same pattern. It's they get you attached in the beginning. They get you really obsessed with them. They do everything you've ever asked for. They're this perfect human being. They love bomb the shit out of you. So, they're bringing you flowers, they're bringing you cute things. Like, I remember my road trip snack is peach rings. It's always been that way since I was a kid.
Yes.
Every single time I saw him, he would have little bags of them.
Oh.
Like, he knew the cute little things that I was like, oh my God, no one has done this for me. Like, this is so cute. He would like bring me flowers all the time. And to me, I love flowers. It's very simple, but it's also like, if they die, it's like, there's always another one. I love me some flowers. I've always been that way. So he knew the little things that would just get me like, okay, this person is different than everyone else. Like, he's not going to do me like everybody else. So it was a lot of love bombing for the first couple while. He made me feel very like, you're the only person in the universe that I care about. You're the only person I want to be with. He took me to do everything with him. I met all of his friends. I met all of his family, the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, I mean, I was involved in everything of his life. And then maybe after like a year was all the protests with everything, I guess, Rontaris and like a lot of protests in general just happening downtown.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up bringing me down there with him again. First time I'd ever seen any of that, never been involved in any of that. And there just so happened to be a video that went viral on me of Facebook of there was a drunk guy downtown at one of the protests trying to basically assault like a little 11, 12-year-old black boy. So I got involved and was like yelling and screaming and really doing my big one. Not unfortunately, but like really doing things that put me in danger, everybody around me in danger, like wasn't making very smart decisions given the setting that I was in. Like, yes, I was trying to use my privilege to an advantage, but it wasn't exactly in the smartest way I could have done it. And that really like praised me for that and was very proud of me and was like, no other white girl has ever done that. Like, everything was very much about race for him. So he was just like, I've never seen any other girl do that. I've never seen that before. So then he really knew that he had me in like a chokehold because he had spent the first like year of our relationship basically telling me how race is in every part of our life and everything and this and that. And like how my, family didn't have any black affiliates and you know what I mean? Like all these little things that I was just like, I don't really understand why that comes into play or why you're bringing that up, but like, okay, like I didn't know how to respond to it, but I'm just like, okay, I guess. And mind you, this is a person that I am falling in love with. I am giving my life to. Like, I moved out of my parents' house. He was homeless when I met him, so he moved into my mom's house with me. And then like a couple months after that, like we moved out into our own apartment together. And I was only 18, 19 when this was going on. So, and he was 26, 27. So like a big age gap. Obviously there were a lot of red flags that I just looked right over, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved, wanting to be in a relationship with somebody who I thought was this person who clearly is not.
So y'all were together for a while.
Almost 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So a couple years into that though, I ended up getting pregnant, and then like that kind of brought its own bunch of rules and things that I wasn't allowed to do. Like I wasn't allowed to eat junk food while I was pregnant. I wasn't allowed to, like, little things, like I wasn't allowed to shower if he wasn't home. I wasn't allowed to, like, very weird, like things that didn't really make sense, but I got used to it. I was like, okay, this is the father of my son. I'll do what he asks. Like I'm not really complaining that much. Like I don't really know what's happening, but like also I very much love this person. I'm dedicating to having a family with this person. I'm willing to change who I am to make it work with this person, which is the problem. Like that was the issue. That's when I should have known like this clearly isn't going to go in the right direction. And And then my birth was kind of a whole situation. That's a really long story, to be honest with you. But I ended up trying to do a home birth because of my back injury. We thought that doing it in a tub at home was going to be the best option. We had this wackadoo of a midwife. And I ended up having a lot of complications, ended up in an emergency C-section in the hospital, refused to come in the room with me. So I did the C-section by myself. And then went unconscious because there's so much stress and so much blood loss that I just like,
oh my.
I was in labor for almost 24 hours before it happened in the hospital, but refused to come into any of the rooms with me. So I like did all of that by myself. And then we stayed in the hospital for like 24 hours after that. And then we went home. And my family wasn't allowed to come see Chief to go to work. I would call my mom and my mom would come over and help. So like I was having my mom come over and help me at the apartment whenever work. And then because I had his location. So I would watch when he was driving home from Topeka where he worked at, and my mom would leave. And then I would try to do it by myself. After just having a C-section. So I had this huge scar that I still have.
Probably still painful.
Painful as fuck. And my kid was 10 pounds. He was a big boy.
Almost 10 pounds?
2 foot long. He was 10 pounds. So
that's really big,
almost
right?
2 foot long. He was huge. Yeah. That's why I couldn't have a home birth, because he got stuck on his way out. His shoulders were too broad. So he got stuck in my pelvis on the way out.
Oh my gosh. That sounds horrible.
So that
sounds painful for you.
Yeah. Like a normal cesarean is they cut horizontally and they can take him out. But because of the way that Junior was stuck, they had to cut horizontally and vertically. So they fully cut open my entire cervix. Sorry, this is kind of like, this is kind of gross, but they like fully had to cut me open. So if I were to ever get pregnant again, it would be a high risk surgery because of all the scar tissue I have. So I would have to find, like, there's only one surgeon in all of Kansas City that will deliver vaginally because of the scar tissue that I have, because of the high risk that it comes with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor Junior.
Yeah, no, he was fine. He came out screaming. He shit on the doctor. He was fine. Yeah, no, he was good. Like, and he was breastfed. I breastfed him for like 7-8 months. He's been the perfect little boy since he came out. I mean, that's my dog, but yeah, that's my dog. But no, it's
day one.
No, for real. In the best way. I mean, I'll never let like Junior know, but the reason that I like decided to leave was because when me and you, I would notice that Junior would start to notice it, and he would like come in the room, shut lights off, close doors. Like, kids are smart. You know, he may not know what's happening, but he can feel the energy. Like, he knows. Yeah. So when I started really noticing that, I was like, fuck, I gotta go. Yeah. Like, this is really bad. Yeah. Like, not only was I miserable and didn't really notice it, but like, if it affects Junior in any way, I would never forgive myself. Yeah. So I left because Junior.
That's amazing. Yeah. So much. I applaud you for all that courage. I've never been in that situation, but I can't imagine how hard that would have been, especially a 5-year relationship on top of that. So yeah, it was interesting. So I'm very happy that you got out of that. Yeah, and I'm proud of you for that. Yeah, thanks. It's a blessing though. Like I take it as it is sad. Like when I say it all like that, I've had to say it so many times now that I'm kind of desensitized to it. Like, it is sad. But it's also, I feel like I'm very lucky that I got to go through it young, and I'm not 30 years old going through it with someone that I was, going to marry and do all these things. Like, I kind of got it out of the way, and now going through therapy. I love my girls. I have 2 different gals that I do therapy with. Nice. And then I also have a group therapy that I do too. Okay. So I've been able to kind of get a lot of different perspectives. And there are a lot of older women in my group therapy that are like, yeah, I was with him for 40 years and then I had to leave. And I'm like, God, thank God I was not. Like, yes, 5 years is a long time for sure. A baby, a lot of commitment for sure. But like, very lucky that I was able to identify it while I was only 24, 23, and be able to know, like, this isn't right. Like, I have to go, and like noticing red flags. And like, now I love being alone. I've never been alone. That's another thing that's congratulations. Like, thank you. Yeah. That's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah. Being alone is different. Like, it's very isolating, but like, I'm very silver lining. I don't know if you've noticed that through all this. Like, I'm very silver lining. So like, through all of it, yes, I get lonely and I get sad and I do like jump offs, and all of those things definitely happen. But like, I absolutely love the idea of like, again, doing it all alone. But I also really love that right now I'm building my own routines and my own habits, and I'm able to like form my own opinions and my own thoughts about things that I feel like I never have been able to before. Because I've been
basically in back-to-back relationships since I was like 15.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like I was that girl that would jump from one to the next, like basically having them overlap type shit. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
And now being in like my mid-20s, especially being a mom, which I think is part of it too. Like I'm very content just doing it myself, like somehow making ends meet. Without my family, I wouldn't be able to, but like feeling very privileged in that way of like a lot of people. And I am struggling, like, but I'm not struggling in a lot of ways that I feel like majority of single moms do. Like I'm privileged to have a beautiful house, and I'm privileged to have a job that is giving me a lot of security. I'm privileged to have family that can help me whenever I need it. I'm privileged to have a daycare. I'm privileged, you know, I've set up a lot of things that I feel like are not very, like a lot of single mothers don't have. So I feel very privileged in that way. And like, I also have this amazing village that I've built through all of this, like Michaela and all of her friends and her family have just like absolutely been an anchor for me. Oh. So it's been really, really great. Like we love Mindy. Yep. I know you walk and talk with Mindy. We love Mindy.
Mindy's the best.
Mindy's the best. And I don't know, I've built this like life that I kind of never thought I would have, especially given all of the shit that has happened.
Yeah.
So I feel very lucky, and I'm just like in this space of I like my routine, I like my habits, I like my people, and that's all I want.
That's beautiful.
And it feels very good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That makes me happy
it's
to
cool.
hear.
Yeah. It's different.
I wanted to ask though, with your therapy, you know, how did you use online resources? Were you referred? You know, because I think a lot of people kind of get discouraged. And I know for myself, for a long time, I had gone to different therapists and I never felt a connection. I also felt weird because it was, I'm paying you this money. You're not making me feel better.
Right.
You're taking notes, and then you say, all right, time's up. Yeah. See you in 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's very,
How, and then also going on that too, like what do you look for when you are searching and trying out new therapists?
So I, again, have an upper hand. My aunt is a very well-known therapist in Lawrence.
Nice.
Like everyone my age went to her. So she obviously knows me very well. That's my family. So she was able to just appoint me to some people that she thought would be good for me, and just the way that like I think and the way that I am and my mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. So the first one that she sent me to, I didn't get along with. I didn't agree with the things that she was telling me. She was basically telling me like yoga will fix all, and I was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I love me some yoga. I love stretching. Like I do. Yeah. But right now I want to drive my car off the bridge. Yeah. Like that's, the two don't correspond, babe.
She's like, do yoga in the car? Do
I'm like,
morning stretch in the car.
Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. Like I'm actually so angry right now. That's not like, I need to go like to a rage room. Like that's not going to work for me. So we just like tried another gal, and I love her. I see her weekly. I would she's my rock. I love her. But she's also not scared of telling me the things I don't want to hear, which I feel like, at least for me, is very important.
Yeah.
Because I am a bit of a strong personality, and like I'll, like a lot of people don't want to tell me those types of things because I'll be like, fuck you, like you're wrong. Like you know what I mean? But I understand her role in this is to tell me those things.
Yeah.
So I'm very receptive to it.
Nice.
So she takes the advantage of that in a good way, as far as like,
right.
Okay, so because for a while, of course, after breaking up with my kid's dad, it's like, you know, you can never really leave each other alone for a while. You know what I mean? So while going through that, she was kind of like, you just have to stop seeing him. And people were telling me that, but I just, it wasn't clicking. You know what I mean?
It hits when like a professional.
It hits different.
You know
like,
I mean?
And she was just kind of like, I'm sorry, you have to stop. And I was just like, okay, why? And then she broke down like the chemical serotonin, dopamine, like she broke it all down to me in a way that was just like, this is what he's doing to you.
Yeah.
This is what's happening in your brain.
Yeah.
And you need to stop. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, oh.
That's incredible.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's really true. So
I'm kind of handicapped in that way.
Yeah, like I could call them at the drop of a dime and they would answer. I could call my dad at 2:30 in the morning and he would answer, like without hesitation. But I felt like I couldn't because I knew that would make him upset. My kid's dad would make him upset, and then I was arguing with him, and I was like, okay, well, I live with him, I sleep with him. I'm not gonna piss him off because then my life gets that much harder. Yeah. So I'll deal with the discomfort to not have to deal with that.
So you were worried about the day-to-day because there was still so much of life that you spent with that person, instead of see family on the weekends, holidays, a few times a week. You can kind of you thought you'd have a better grip on that than the routine of
The Aquarius in me is give everything you literally have to make it work, and then when I'm done,
I'm an Aquarius. I don't have that trait.
Interesting.
Wish I had that trait.
No,
but it's probably my abandonment issues.
It might be. That might be a thing.
Yeah.
I do have those though, because that's why I do that. I give every ounce of my being to people, and it's also why I'm really scared of friendships.
Yeah.
Because friendships are at least in my experience, they're way more likely to leave than a relationship. A relationship, it sucks. I know this is unhealthy, but you can manipulate and you can fuck with people's minds a little bit easier when you're in a relationship with someone, when you're sleeping with somebody. Friendships, I feel like people are a lot more amped to leave.
Yeah.
So I have a really hard time with friendships, and that's why me and Michaela click so much, because instantly I was able to tell her, like, hey, friendships freak me the fuck out. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know if we're going to get along. Yeah. And then we sat down one day and like really had a heart-to-heart conversation, and we've been inseparable since. Yeah. And she's not allowed to leave. Like, you're not allowed. I know she's watching this. You're not allowed to leave, bitch. Like, and she knows. Like, Junior is obsessed with her. She loves Junior. I always tell people we have split custody of Junior. She helps me watch him if I need her to for a couple hours. Like, Junior loves her, and she is part of the reason I'm not so scared of like people leaving as much as they would, because I have had a lot of friendships where people would just meet someone else and then I'm forgotten about. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. What happened there? Like, it's a little funny.
That's amazing. I won't put her story out there, but it's amazing. I won't speak for her or yourself, but it's amazing how I know both sides and how you two came together. And I think it's beautiful how you guys found each other in a time
in chaos.
Yeah.
We were both going through a lot when we first got together. Like I say first got together, that's my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like that's my girl. We were, and still do every day. Like we very much, she's the type of person though that, like, you know how everyone has a friend that you don't have to censor what you say, even if it's a little crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, she'll know that if I'm like calling her and I'm like, God, I want to drive off a bridge, she'll be like, okay, but this is why we can't. And she knows I'm not literal about it. You know what I mean? But she knows I'm like close to being pushed off the edge of like, girl, I'm about to fall. And I need you here. I need, and she'll like be at my house waiting. Yeah. That's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, she very much, and vice versa. Like, I've like broke into her house before because I was like, she wasn't answering phone calls, she wasn't answering texts, and she was like napping in her bed.
She's sleeping.
Yeah, and I was like, babe, I didn't know.
You were there, wake her up. You're like,
I was like, what are you doing? Like, are you okay? And she was like, yeah, I'm just taking a nap. I was like, I'm sorry. Like,
she wakes up, you're like,
no,
hello?
literally, and I like left. I was like, sorry, babe. Like, sleep good. Like, call me when you wake up. But yeah, no, that's my girl. Like, she very much got me out of a place, like you said, circling back to earlier, like, that I genuinely thought I probably wasn't going to get out of. Like, there were multiple people that came before, like girlfriends that I still talk to that were, you know, great, but the form of friendship that they had was very much drinking, partying, smoking, doing drugs, and you know what I mean? Like, and it was great for what it was. You know what I mean? Definitely got my mind off things. Like, definitely had my fair share of waking up on the bathroom floor and, like, you know, doing things I shouldn't have been doing. But that wasn't getting me anywhere. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was the first couple months after I broke up with him. And then me and Michaela clicked, like, it was a little bit after her birthday last year. So like December of last year, January of this year, and literally inseparable ever since. Like the longest I think we've gone without seeing each other was her trip to Mexico. She just took like, I could talk forever about her. I protect her like I'd protect Junior. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool too. Cause I guess I'll talk about that off camera, but, hey, thank you so much
of course
for hopping on and being so open. And letting people see a part of your life that's been hard. Yeah. And that's been
but it always ends.
Yeah.
It does. It
It's always
feels
just
like
a
it's
chapter.
not.
It's
Yeah.
not the whole book.
Yeah. It always feels like it might not, but it will.
Yeah.
Like it, yeah. There was in a year, I mean, literally a year, like even a year ago today, like my pictures in my camera roll are wild. Absolutely fucking wild. Like, and even looking, like had Friendsgiving last night, have, you know, a very like happy, playful time of year. And I'm like surrounded by all these great people. And I couldn't wish for anything better, honestly, right now. My family's great. Like, yeah, Ginger's great. I don't know. I could talk forever, but I'm feeling very thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're always welcome. I do the shorter ones because I want people to have the, I want it to be open to where, like, if you want to have another conversation, if you want to talk more, we can always run it again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I could talk forever. So, I mean, I'm a yapper, Nico.
Do you have anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to talk about? Do you want to put your socials out there?
Yeah, no.
No?
I mean, no, but like, I mean, I think that going through all of this, yes, it all sounds very sad, but it's also very, again, silver lining that these things have happened. Yes, they are sad. Yes, they are hard, but also I'm very resilient coming out of all of this. And like, again, another reminder that like it doesn't have to be that way forever. Like what you don't change, you choose.
Yep.
So you have to be willing to change things unless you're like in shedding your old life for your new one. Like I had to change every literal single thing about my life to be able to make sure that I was going to make it out of that. So, I mean, I think that like if you are having a hard time, just lean on your village. If you don't have it, find it. It's there. Like everyone has a village. You just got to be willing to let them in. Yeah. And I mean, don't be scared to break a plate. Yeah. Like, don't be scared to go break a plate. Like sometimes
IKEA has cheap plates.
I mean, they do. Or like there's rage rooms in Kansas City that you can go beat the shit out of a TV. Like if you really need to go do that, then go do it in a healthy way. Yeah. And like therapy's not for everybody. So like find what you like to do and do it. Like mine for a long time was going outside. Yeah. All I had to do was touch grass. And it's like an ongoing thing at my job now that like if I get really overwhelmed or like we have a hard call or something, I'll like look at my supervisor. I'm like, I gotta go touch grass. Sorry. I need 5 minutes. I gotta go outside. Yeah. You know, so you have to find what works for you. But like it's very beautiful when you make it out of it. Yeah. Even going through it.
That's amazing awareness too. To have that. So
yeah.
Thank you guys for watching another podcast of I Had No Idea, brought to you by Landlock Entertainment. Like always, if you guys have anything or any questions, leave it in the comments below. But besides that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love.
Bye, guys.
Kindness just because.
Kindness just because, always.